Hello, everyone, and we'll welcome you to the GT series of the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship here for round one, which will take place at the circuit of Paul Ricard. I am Jamie, and joining alongside me is lead commentator Moran. Afternoon, Moran.
Yep, good afternoon, Jamie. It's very good here to be back with some ACOC action for the off season. We are here for Classic GT, as you did say, the 2003 FIA GT season. All the cars, the tracks, but with a bit of an ACOC twist on it. This is the first ever multi-class series we will be running in ACOC. We've got a bit of technical difficulties at the moment, so just stand by and we'll get it fixed eventually. But we should be here for qualifying around the historic Paul Ricard, or no, I do believe it's the current layout, but it is the one that we do run in modern ACOC. And as you can see, already some cars coming out on track, and you'll be able to view the wide array of cars that we will have on offer in this series. As I see Alex Luan for Creation Autosportif, I do believe the team is called. That is in the Lister Storm GTM. He is running the number 6 beautiful blue and yellow livery. But yeah, we've got a bit of time as we're going to see everyone on their outlaps. But yeah, the FIA GT has been quite a staple of sports car racing and endurance racing back in the day. So it is a very interesting series in my opinion. But I have to ask you, Jamie, what would you think of it?
Well, to be really honest with you, Moran, I've got absolutely zero knowledge in GT racing at all. But from what I've heard in regards to highlights and its prestigious history in regards to Grand Touring racing, the FIA GT series was at one point the pinnacle of World GT racing here, and these drivers will be sure to have a lot to follow in regards to the legacy of these 2003 GT cars, both the GT and the NGT series here. As we've got 34 cars here on the grid, it's actually going to produce one of really hectic qualifying sessions here that the ACOC history will probably see, as it's very limited track here for everyone to start their clean flying lap, I must say.
Yes, indeed, and this is the biggest ever field we've ever had in an ACOC race, and considering they're faster and slower cars out on track for all these drivers, it's going to be a very tough ask to be able to get a good lap in. But we're going to see Alex Luan then as he's going to go across the line then, as you hear the engine of the Lister power down the start finish straight and then down into turn number 1 through the left-hander of Verri, and then into turn number 2 there up ahead. You can see, I believe that is the NGT Porsche fighting, but he's going to approach traffic already, heading into turn number 3 into the second chicane, then through the left of 4, trying to hit the chicane, but he does run a bit wide on exit, and I fear that may ruin his lap. He's got to go for a move on the inside line to turn 5 to try and get past the slower NGT car there on his left. Does get past, then heading out of St. Baum and into the Mistral straight now. It's definitely cost him a bit of time, as he is now going to head down the straight, and using the engine power he should be able to get past this other Porsche as well. Obviously this is the no chicane layout, so drivers will be able to blast down the Mistral straight without any problems, as you head down into the very fearsome right-hander of Senior, and it continues on heading into Bose corner, as you really have to have the right line through here to be able to succeed. That's a bit wide, trying to set yourself up for the second apex of the corner as you head down into turn number 12 into sector 3 now, as we head in through these more flowing corners, then only to make your way down to the 2 final corners into Lac, the left-hander, and then the sharp final corner, the 15th and final corner of Pont, as he tries to get the best exit possible, and then you're going to make your way across the line then, And it's not going to be the best of laps for Alex Luan, but a 1:59.7 will be the benchmark time for Luan. That is first a few times set. Then there's Pearson in the other lister, and then FG, who is in the Chrysler Viper. So a few of the times coming in on the board then now.
Yeah, it currently is at the minute. I don't think anyone can top Pearson's time at the minute. It's just because of his run that he's managed to get such a clean air that I don't think anyone can really top that at the minute. The only one closest there is Kyon, but he's still more than a tenth slower from Pearson. So Pearson with a really good time from him. It's might show good promises for the American for the starting of the grade, I must say. And Daniel Fraser, meanwhile, he tops it off with a 1:58.9. That's the quickest that we've had, and the first sub 1:59 as well.
Yeah, good lap from Fraser in the Ferrari, number 23 BMS Scuderia Italia. There's Ari Soiler across the line in the Saline, I believe that is. Yes, that is the number 2 Conrad Motorsport. There's Eric Novasad across the line. He goes into second. It's a 1:59.001. So it's just only a few thousandths of joining Fraser in the 1:58s. There we see the NGTs. There is Victor Rafael in the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. There goes Enes Parachki, who was obviously crowned Formula 1 world champion only a few weeks ago. He is also in the Chrysler Viper, albeit in the number 1, which he obviously will be representing next season in Formula 1, as well as Gomez is now going fastest.
Wow, my word, that's really impressive there from Brazilian. I think we've just got our first 26 ones that have set their times now. So for those that don't know in regards to the timing board, it can only show about the 26. So that's about all of the GT plus the top 6 of the NG cars so at the minute. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting for us in regards to commentating and to have a look at see where everyone is at the moment, but it is quite hectic here. Just about finished the 2-minute mark now of the qualifying session here. We still got about 13 minutes to go here, and Gomez meanwhile is provisional pole with a 58.873.
Yeah, very, very good stuff from Gabriel Gomez at the moment. This is how it's looking in GT. As I believe on NGT pole at the moment. I really haven't got a single clue about the field, but I do believe it is Rosetta Martinez, who currently is fastest out of the NGT field. He is in one of many Porsches in that field, and I do believe that is the Reiter Porsche, if I'm not... No, that's the Freisinger, sorry. That's the Freisinger Motorsport Porsche, the number 50. So, yeah, he has done a decent job then for the time being. But, yeah, some very, very different cars and liveries up and down the field, as you do notice. There's Charles Scheinert in the Ferrari. Not sure which one that is, because I do believe there are multiple ones.
Mastercar. It's the Mastercar Ferrari.
Oh yeah, there we go. But he currently sits on a 2-minute 3.0, so he's only a few hundredths off Martinez at the moment. As Chow Shine's come across the line, that's Luan into the pits.
What's going on?
Yeah, timing board, we're still trying to figure this out, so just bear with us. But yeah, there is Ollie Boakes then in another Saline as well. I do think that is the number 7 Graham Nash Motorsport car that he is in. So doing very, very well compared to his teammate Curtis, who currently is down last out of all of the GT cars at the moment. So we'll see if Curtis as well will be able to improve.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see not all of the GT cars and NG cars are, you know, balanced in regards to, well, they really have the same thing in regards to class, but some of these cars have got interesting driving characteristics, which really tailors towards the driver. And here you can just see which driving style from these drivers is more compatible to the cars that they run in. So some of them might have better acceleration than top speed, and others have got better downforce than others here. And in a track like Paul Ricard here, known as the high testing test track, I suppose, high-tech test track, it's the one that's really going to favor which one is both good in acceleration, top speed, and also downforce as well. So it's really a track which is compatible with all of those features here, and it's really going to be down to one which really has it as the best, really, in terms of their driving skill along with their car to succeed here in this first round of the Classic GT Series.
Yes, indeed. This is a very, very all-round track, as you did say. It's got a lot of tricky corners, lots of high and low-speed corners as well, but it's also got one very, very long back straight. So cars with very, very good engine performance, I think, will benefit around here. There's Ji-Hwan Kyon in the all-black Reiter Lamborghini Murcielago. I have to say that car looks really, really nice. But he's going to come across the line, not before getting past the Ferrari there. And I don't think it's going to be an improvement, and it isn't.
I think the right word to describe that, Baron, is the car is scary, much like Kyon's driving skill.
Hey, now he is a race winner, but yeah, he's got the Saleen. I think he's got Ollie Boaks just ahead of him there on track, so we could expect some jostling for track position as they're all in this little pack. I think there's a few NGTs behind there as well. Looking a bit further down the GT field, there's Henry J. Brown in the Lister. He is fighting it away with one of the Saleens. I think that might be Curtis. But Brown goes around the outside and he gets it done. So quite hectic, as we did predict, Jamie, here in qualifying already. There's cars absolutely everywhere. So some people are struggling to find clean laps, as we're going on board with Enis Paratsky, who luckily doesn't have any traffic ahead of him, so he is just enjoying himself at the moment in that Chrysler Viper.
Yeah, currently at the minute, Paratsky is the fastest of the French teams actually in the GT field, as he's down in fifth. But yeah, really in the case, as we've seen with previous ACOC qualifying sessions here, especially in the 2020 season, is that, as we've already know, there's a lot of cars that go out here in the final stages of the qualifying session here. But as we can see with Gomez with the 158.873, and what we're already seeing now, which is nowhere near the end of the qualifying session here, it looks like that the Brazilian's provisional pole time may be unchallenged, and he might actually have it already in the bag, to be honest.
I have to say, that Ferrari is a very, very strong car, and yeah, we'll have to see if Gomez will be able to hold on to that, as up into 8th goes Alex Luan in the Lister, and he gets himself ahead of Ari Soilu then. But yeah, the top 4 is still relatively close to each other, especially even if you look a bit further down the field. You've got Novosad, Paratsky and Boaks all separate on 700th of a second, as we're looking at Mateusz Material in the Swans Racing, currently the highest of the Chrysler Vipers. He is facing a bit of traffic through Sector 2.
Yeah, it currently is. It's I think it's a GT car that's ahead of him as well, and because they're, as we already know, they're like about 2 seconds slower than these than the GT cars. It's going to be really hard to navigate for them, and it's also going to be quite interesting to see how it will impact in the race as well. Because if the races are really long enough, then lap traffic may pose a trouble to those that really want to keep the lead and keep the gap as well. It's all about well, it's really about getting there in the right place in the right time to make it overtake and make it stick as well, because we have seen before that lap cars do sometimes tend to fight back.
Indeed, it's all going to be about timing and well, also communication when it comes to overtaking lapped cars. Obviously, for faster cars, you can't overtake willy-nilly into whatever corner you like, and for slower cars, well, you've obviously got to respect the faster car and at least try and not pose too much of a challenge to them. There's Nick Tander across the line, the Force One Racing Festina, and he goes up to P9 in that very, very beautiful blue livery of the Chrysler Viper GTSR.
Yeah, really good for Tander, I must say. He's done pretty good in comparison to Parrish. In fact, both of the Force One Racing Festinas are 9 and 11 respectively. So it's quite decent for them, at least a good way to start off as well. And there is a new provisional time from Ollie Bogues with a 58.562. Wow.
That is a great lap from Ollie Bogues. It's a 3/10 personal improvement, and he has gone about 2/10 faster than Gabriel Gomez. That is a really, really good lap time from Ollie Bogues, and he should definitely be proud of that one. As we look to NGT, and storming onto NGT provisional pole, it is Alfred Klaus in the AB Motorsport, and he will take it away from Martinez, who's basically remained untouched in NGT up there. But yeah, as you notice as well, with NGT, only the top 6 are showing, and that is because, well, we can't really show much else, because then the timing tower will get too big, and we don't have any other way of displaying the other cars, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it is. Chalchinat, meanwhile, he gets himself up into provisional pole for the NGT cars. Really, really good for him. At 0.2742, just beats the championship, the Red Bull driver of Alfred Klaus. So yeah, it's quite good here. We're just about under 5 minutes left to go here, and from what we can tell from Bogues and Klaus, meanwhile, is that apparently traffic is not really that much of a big deal as I initially thought it would be. So we could see some still more improvements, and maybe their provisional pole times are still not safe.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what is going to happen, as there is Dennis Graf, currently down to 19, so second to last out of all GTs. Not doing too well at the moment, but we'll see if the man who is ironically in the Ferrari will be able to improve.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. The championship contender for the 2020 F1 season is maybe kind of taking a step back after the intensity of that championship battle was, but I still got a bit of time here. Still got just about under 3 minutes now left to go to set a strong time. And as we know from Graf's driving tiles, he's definitely not the one you would want to miss. So yeah.
Oh, and there we go. Look at that. He's gone up into P9, as we were talking about Graf and his driving style. He has piloted that Ferrari up into the top 10. So yeah. Decent stuff from him. Here is Will Parrish, who obviously was confirmed. Oh dear! Oh, that was very, very close. And yeah, once again, a bit of miscommunication. That was very, very scary. Could have ended up to be a very nasty accident, but luckily both of them are fine. But Will Parrish, who was confirmed for Formula One this season after missing out on Formula One signups for the 2020 season, he has been confirmed with Scuderia Alpha Tauri for 2021 alongside fellow Formula 2 champion Eric Adelberg. So it'll be very interesting to see how he's going to get along in Formula 1. Currently he sits P12 here at the moment, as Force One Racing currently P10 and P12, so the two teammates not separated by much.
Yeah, Parrish has got actually a lot to live up to in F1. He's going to be the first American driver in the F1 grid since Andrew Glock back in 2017. So he's got quite a lot to live up to, and maybe potentially score first ever points for an American driver as well in F1 as well. But as we've seen in regards to his talents over in F2 and in Super Formula, I think the American souls will be rested on safe hands with Parrish, I believe.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see until the start of the season what Parrish is going to be able to do. He is obviously not the only F1 debutant for the 2021 season in the field. You've got the man in P4, Daniel Fraser, who obviously will be making his Formula 1 debut with Haas. As he's now down to P5, then Courtney Simpson clocks in a very beautiful lap. It's a 1:58.861 for the Jamaican, and he will go up into second. Very, very nice lap from Courtney Simpson.
Really good for him. It's not quite close enough to break Ollie Bugs' time. The seconds are really taken down here, and soon qualifying would be all over. And my word, this is going to be quite intense as we see the seconds drop by. And look at here, it's already blown up here as the Turkish driver exits out of the final corner of Luwak, and he's going to try and see if he can do any more improvements for him.
Yeah, this is one of the debutants in the field of the Çağatay Yılmaz from Turkey. Does go across the line and does not set an improvement. There's next across the line is Daniel Fraser as the checker flag falls. Fraser goes across the line. He does not improve. Tilsley goes up into second. Great lap from the man in the Ferrari. As next across the line will be Ji Hwan Kyon, the man from South Korea. Will actually come into the pit lane, so he is aborting the lap. What about Alex Luwan? He comes in as well. Then Nick Tander, who also comes in. Thanks, guys. Thomas Mandic will continue his lap. He's going to finish it up. So let's see what's going to happen as he comes across the line. In the Lister, doesn't improve.
Matis Material, meanwhile, at P5, he's got a lot to do. If he's not going to abort this one, he doesn't, and he's going to go ahead and cross the line. Maybe it might be any more improvements, maybe for the Polish driver. And it hasn't been. It's remained 6th. There is an improvement though. Ari Solo gets up into 5th. Wow, really good there from the Finnish driver. A lot of people are coming into the pits now, and you can just see the amount of cars that's just going all over the place. Graf, meanwhile, on his improvement, he does not improve. He stays in 9th.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame for Graf. Simpson does improve, but he's not able to get back that second from Jake Tilsley. Curtis goes across the line and rockets up into 11th. That is a very, very good lap, but that pushes Thomas Mandic down to last. As Eric Novosad goes across the line, Novosad stays in 8th. Here's Alexander Arnold in the NGT Ferrari. He's up into P23 with that improvement. Broster comes in, looking at Henry J. Brown, who should be the final car to come across the line. Nope, he is not, and that's qualifying over. And on GT pole, it's Ollie Boakes for Graham Nash Motorsport, the number 7. Will take pole here, Paul Ricard, and on NGT pole will be Funktionok Chao for Mastercar Ferrari.
That was really, really hectic, I must say. Really good there for Ollie Boakes and Chao respectively to get their pole position on their respective classes here. And, well, what's really going to be ahead of this 22-lap race, I must say, Moran, is going to be absolute pure driving mayhem.
Yeah. I think we'll do it like this. I'll let you take GT, and then I will take NGT, if that is fine by you.
Fine by me. Ollie Boakes will take pole position for the GT class for the Saleen car. Following behind him is a fellow Brit of Jake Tilsley in 2nd. Courtney Simpson will be 3rd for the Jamaican. Following behind him is Guillermo Gomez, the Brazilian, in P4. Ari Solo, the Finnish driver, in P5, and following behind him is Matis Material in 6th for the Polish driver. The 3rd of the British drivers for Daniel Fraser in 7th, and Eric Nosowad for the Canadian in 8th. Graf, meanwhile, will finish in P9, and following behind him is, well, fellow F1 title contender 2020, Enes Parachki in 10th. Aaron Curtis finally manages to get out of last place for a good while. He starts in 11th, and following behind him is James Morris Pearson, the American, in 12th. Marin FG will be P13, followed behind him is the Vietnamese of Alex Luan in 14th. Giuseppe Stella on his continued return in P15, followed behind him is Nick Tander, the Australian, in 16th. The second of the Americans will be P17 for Will Parrish, with Henry J. Brown in P18. Ji Hwan Kyon will be P19, and rounding off the GT field, it is Thomas Mandic, the Croatian, will start in P20.
Yes, so on NGT pole then, it is Funktionok Chao for Mastercar, and then accompanying him in 2nd is Victor Rafael in the Motor Competition Porsche. P3 will be Alexander Arnold in the Ferrari, and behind him is Çağatay Yılmaz in the Team Maranello Concessionaires Ferrari. Rubinho Gonzalez is 5th with Alfred Klaus in P6. Then it's Rosetta Martinez in 7th for Freisinger Motorsports, followed by Alex Broster in 8th. Julia Miyazaki will take P29, one of the other debutants, I guess you could say, the other Team Maranello Concessionaires car. Lewis McIntyre will be P10 with Khalfan Juma in P11. Josef Frederik Schutter will take 12th, and then Ekoto Sambi will be 13th. And rounding off the grid in 14th and P34 overall, it is Rowan Shotanus for Freisinger Motorsports. So then, that is all the cars dealt with, as we're going to go down to the field then. 6 lights for the first race of the Classic GT season, and we're underway here at Paul Ricard. Great start for Ollie Boaks in the Saleen. He gets a lightning start off the line, and then in second, I believe it is Courtney Simpson in the Chrysler Viper, and he's immediately going to go to the inside line of Ollie Boaks. The two going wheel to wheel then as Boaks defends the inside line, and he's going to hold the race lead, but Simpson getting a very, very good race start there. Material defending from Gabriel Gomez then for P5, as Eric Novosad's trying to attack the Brazilian as well. There's Novosad side by side with Ari Soilu, in fact, and the Finn has actually punched his way through the Canadian, as Daniel Fraser in the Ferrari is going to try to get his way past as well. Novosad's going to put up a bit of resistance to the Finn though, as we're now going to head down the Mistral Straights.
Yeah, Material meanwhile gets himself up to P3, really good there from him. Curtis meanwhile, he improves and gets himself up to 11th as well. A lot of fields are changing here, but this Mistral State here, this is going to be a really big advantage to those who have the top speed here. And you can just see here they're going wheel to wheel now between Tealsley and Gomez, meanwhile still going side by side. I think one of them might have a benefit from the slipstream of Material. They're still going wheel to wheel as they head down through the corner that's going to be separating between these two. And you can just see over the background here.
3 wide in the background.
3 wide of back here.
Ooh,
and it's going to be running close.
Yeah, Paratsky is going to try to get both of them here. Could be a mega move if he gets that done, as Ennis is going to go around the outside line of Eric. Doesn't work though. Soilu is facing pressure from Dennis Graf as Graf goes to the inside line. Great battles we're having here on the opening lap, I have to say, and Graf will get past Ari Soilu. There's Curtis and Fraser battling for P10, and it is going to be, I believe, no, they're still side by side then. It's the Saleen versus the Ferrari, as Fraser's there on the inside line. Should have the better traction there on the inside line, but he's going to have the outside heading into the final corner. That should give Curtis the advantage then, heading out of the final corner. It does so. Fraser will go down to 11th, and Aaron Curtis will be up into P10.
Yeah, Aaron Curtis has a really good start. He managed to get himself up into 11th, and now he's now up in 10th now, and he's maybe challenging Ari Soilu now, and he is going to do it down through the first turner of Verlier, and out of turn 1 they go, and they're still going to be going side by side down the exit of turn 2 they go. He's going a little bit wide though, and it doesn't really come much to benefit for him, as Fraser's all over the back of him and might actually make a charge through down to turn 3, and still going a bit wheel to wheel, but Curtis manages to shut him off. Oh, a little contact there. They remain in the respective positions.
Yeah, very, very exciting battles then in GT. In NGT, it has been Victor Rafael who's taking the lead of the race. There is Giuseppe Stella. He's fighting James Morris Pearson in the Lister, but Pearson will hold himself ahead of the Italian at the moment, so Stella stays where he is. But yeah, in NGT, Victor Rafael leads by 1.1 seconds from Çağatay Yılmaz in second, and Functional Xiao Shine, the man who started on pole, has dropped all the way down to P3 in class. There's Stella though, he absolutely blitzes Pearson down the straight in that Scuderia Italia, and he gets up into P14. There though is Alex Luan, and he's going to go to the inside line of his fellow Lister, heading into Beausset. He has the inside line. Ji-Hwan Kyon's going to try to get involved. Luan is able to get past Pearson. It's double trouble for the American, as there's the South Korean Ji-Hwan Kyon on the inside line. The two going wheel to wheel as we look to another battle further up the field. The battle for the last step on the podium between Tillesley and Material, and it's going to be Mateusz Material who does defend from Jake Tillesley.
Really strong there from him. The Parish meanwhile making a move on G1 Kyon as they go to go at the exit of turn 12, and it's now going to be come down through the final corner of turn 13. Oh, he gets a little bit tail heavy there on the back there, but it's not Mike going to do him any favours, but he does have a little bit of the benefit of the slipstream, which Kyon doesn't, and he uses that to his advantage, and he gets himself up to P16. Very interesting fight between these two, I must say. This is absolutely insane, I must say.
Yeah, it is looking really close out there as Kyon is going to go around the outside line of Pearson, gets over the curb, but he has the inside line, which will provide the South Korean with more traction, and thus he will be able to get himself ahead of James Morris Pearson for P16 as we're now look further up the field again to this battle for third. Surprisingly, the podium positions do seem a bit spread out, unlike the rest of the field, but Tillisley is looking to change that as he is going to try to get Mateusz Material then with this long straight. He's going to have the slipstream on the Chrysler Viper, as I don't think he's going to get close enough into Senior though, so he's going to have to stay behind and just wait for his chance. But yeah, a very interesting battle that is ongoing then, as there's Soilu to the inside line of Graf. Dennis Graf defends easily around the outside line of the Finn, and both of them will stay in their respective positions. There's Will Parrish in the Force 1 Racing. He gets past his fellow compatriot James Morris Pearson. Pearson dropping like a stone here at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, he's really struggled from where he started in his position. He's just dropping places left, right, and centre now. But I think he's probably lost a lot of momentum at the start here, and it's just continued all the way through in the opening laps. But we'll see if Pearson might be able to catch his way back here as we have a look down at the NGT cars here as Chanat, meanwhile, trying to make a move on the debutant of Yilmaz. The Turkish driver at least, but he's actually doing pretty good in his debut in P2 at the minute as well, and it's very comfortable, at least ahead. But oh no, sorry, he's in the lead.
No, it's Victor Rafael in the race lead, but
about 5 seconds.
Yeah, no, because Mandic is GT, so
sorry.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, Victor Rafael is in the race lead of NGT then, with Çağatay Yılmaz in second, as we now look to Daniel Fraser. He's still chasing down Aaron Curtis for 10th position as we head through turns 7 and 8, I do believe it is. There's G1 Kyon, he's chasing down Alex Luan. Jake Tillisley still on the back of Mateusz Material, so he is trying to get them. You can see behind Tillisley is just a wall of red, as you have Gomez and Nosad both in the Ferraris accompanying Jake Tillisley.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out here. Mirror with us, G1 Kyon is using the Lamborghini power to push his way through Alex Luan. The two Asians are going to be going wheel to wheel, and it's only going to be the Sings corner that's going to separate between these two. They're going to be quite down to the inside line, but Kyon's trying to push him just a little bit outside in case if he gets a better exit, which he does use, and up into 15, the Korean goes. Really strong overtake there from G1.
Yeah, very good stuff from Kyon, and he's gone up into P15, and he's having a very good race, so has to be said, as Tillisley still is just unable to get closer to Mateusz Material like he was a few laps ago, so he'll just have to wait for his chance to be able to get close. Might be a battle between the two Ferraris forming as well, the two JMB Racing Ferraris of Gomez and Assad, to see what they're going to be able to do. But at the moment though, in the race lead, Ollie Boaks is absolutely enjoying himself.
Yeah, that's going to be used to his advantage as well, because while the others are constantly fighting, Curtin Sed's fastest lap, really good for him. While the others are going to be constantly fighting, Ollie Brooks is just going to be nowhere amidst the fight, so that means he's his own man whenever it comes to strategy. He's already thinking ahead through the head of the 22 laps, whilst the drivers that are battling are not quite thinking as ahead because they just want to get as many positions as they can. So it's quite good news for Ollie Brooks, but the question is about Courtney Simpson as well behind him. He's in the same mindset that he is, so we could see a battle between these two wrap it up in the later stages of the race.
Yeah, it's gonna be, we'll have to wait and see if Northsouth's gonna be able to do anything. Right now, Gomez isn't able to capitalize on the gap to Tilsley, so I definitely wouldn't doubt the fact that Northsouth will probably try to get his way past in a few laps' time. As we're on board with Ari Soilu heading down the Mistral straight, you can see how much he's gaining on Dennis Groff in the Celine. Is he going to be able to do anything? Heading into Scene, he has a look on the inside, but Dennis doesn't move at all, and nothing changes there. There's Parrish, though. He's going to make up another position as he goes around the outside line of Alex Luan, and the Formula 2 champion will be up into P16.
Good move there from the American as well. He continues his climb up the field. Alex Luan is kind of having a bit of a problem, as Pearson is, about dropping down the field as well. So it's quite interesting to see there. As we can see here, the two Ferraris here, they're still P5 and P6 for Gomez and Eric Nozowat. Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's an overtake there down for the GT cars. That was Martinez making an overtake on Gonzalez. Is still going to be going wheel to wheel at the exit out of turn 9. Really good there for Martinez. She gets himself up into P5 for GT class. Sorry.
Yeah. He's done well to get past Gonzalez. As we're looking at Jay Tilsley, who is still on the back of Mateusz Material, who's actually looking to catch up to Courtney Simpson in second. So I was talking about how the top 3 did seem a bit spread out, but at the moment it feels like that gap seems to be coming down.
Yeah, it currently is at the minute, but I think Simpson must be going defensive then, if that's the case then, if Materials managed to catch up so many seconds in just a short amount of time now. But unfortunately for Simpson, he's got to worry about the Mistral State, which he doesn't have the Montreal chicane to have in his aid, which in this case would be really ideal for the defense, but there's only so little that the Jamaican can do, and the Polish and the actually Tilsley as well might actually use it to his advantage as well, because now he's got double slip shim as well, and maybe make that overtake on Material very soon.
Though I'm not sure if the Ferrari is any faster on the straight than the Vipers. I'm not really sure on all the car performances here, so someone who is more knowledgeable in
2003, right?
Yeah, 2003. Someone who's more knowledgeable will have to help me out there. Either way, Tilsley is doing the best that he can to try and get past. And yeah, the Viper is one of the fastest cars on the straight, along with the Salines. But I do believe the Ferraris and the Listers do excel more in the corners. So that is where Tilsley does gain most of his time compared to Material and Simpson. And obviously, Mateusz is able to pull away from Jake on the straights.
Yeah, we can't find any information on the Lamborghini Murcielago, I'm afraid, because it's so mysterious.
Yeah. Well, the Murcielago is balanced. It is a solid all-round. It is a solid all-round car, and I guess that also would explain why Jivan Kyon is doing so well at this track, because you do remember that we talked about this track having a bit of everything, so it's a good track for all-around cars. So yeah, guess it is being proven at the moment.
Yeah, it currently is. As we mentioned before, 2020 was the one where it celebrated its 50th anniversary of the circuit as well, an esteemed history of testing tracks and hosting a series of motorsport races here. It's definitely one for sure where manufacturers test the limits of their cars. And fun fact, this circuit is one of the few that receives an FIA 3-star sustainability accreditation, which is the highest level of FIA sustainable program, which means absolutely nothing.
There you go, that's a fun fact. As there goes Ari Soilu to the inside line of Dennis Groff. 3rd time's the charm for Ari, and he finally gets past. There's Stella, though, fighting Jiwan Kyon, and Kyon, I think, does get past Stella. Very, very good race from Jiwan Kyon, I have to say, so far.
Yeah, that was a really good defensive move, I must say, from the Korean as well. Did you see the way he fended off Stella there at the minute? For an unexperienced driver who's only like in his not even half a season of the ACOC. He's done actually quite well to climb himself all the way up into P14 in the Murcielago, but as we've mentioned from the stats here, it is really balanced. So he's got that and is used to his advantage, which maybe we can see him maybe climb for points as well. It's not a far stretch as well. He's only got 4 places to make it if he wants to get points, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And he's actually set the fastest lap of the race now, so Soilu is looking very, very good on the pace. In a few laps' time, if he does continue this, he could definitely catch Enes Parachki. But yeah, that does get himself into the points then, which is good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just see there how close Material is to Simpson as well. It's now nearly 4 seconds between the Jamaican and the former Porsche Super Cup champion of Ollie Bogues, and it's really, really going to be inevitable that they're going to. Courtney Simpson will probably lose that position one way or another, but if he keeps on defending, then it's going to just push Gomez and Eric closer and closer together, and you can probably just see and feel a looming battle for P2 wrapping up as the more Simpson defends. As there's Irish going to move at Parachki.
And Soilu is going to try to rocket his way past Enes Parachki in the Saline. That thing is rapid on the straights as he's going to go side by side and into Bosse. He gets it done, and that's Ari Soilu up into P7. He is looking good, and the car is looking good as well. I definitely think he is going to get a few more positions if this continues.
It definitely is. It's still only early beginnings. It's still only lap 7 off 22, so it's the world's really his oyster as well. He's only just got about 14 more laps to go or so. As you can just see there, Tilsley's now still over the back of Material. Still can't find a way to overtake him. He's been behind him for quite a long time as they're going to exit out of turn 13. And you can just see all the amount of cars that's just going to be wrapping up here, as Gomez is also going to be behind him as well. The important thing for Tilsley is to not get too distracted from Material and frustrated that he ends up losing that position to Gabriel Gomez behind him. As you said there, for Ari Soilu, who's really rapid on the straight, it's put him to his advantage as he gets a provisional fastest lap.
Yeah, once again, another fastest lap for Ari Soilu, proving that he has got it, and he is on the back of Eric Novosad at the moment, so he's trying to disrupt this little Ferrari trio that we have in the top 6 at the moment. So we'll have to see what he's going to be able to do then. But the Ferrari was not the most powerful car on the straights, so that is going to really be Soilu's time to shine as we now head down the Mistral Straight on board with Ari Soilu as he powers down the Mistral Straight. That you can see he is gaining by a bit, trying to find the way past, but I don't think he is close enough into Senior, and he isn't. Still has a look on the inside line, but yeah, no move just yet for Soilu.
Look how much he closed up to Eric though. That is really, really rapid on that straight. It just nearly like half the lap's distance. He's managed to claw back nearly half a second, which is going to prove all the benefit to Ari Soilu, and it's going to be quite scary to see, but I honestly think he might get himself up to the top 5 at this rate.
Yeah, I have to say though, Jamie, I think the Salines are definitely powerful cars on track here today, because you think Ollie Bogues leading by 4.3 seconds in what has been a decently close race so far. He has just absolutely left everyone in the dust, and Soilu is just making overtake after overtake down the straight on that Saline. So I maybe do retract my statement about this being an all-round track. I think this track does maybe favor straight line speed.
It's mainly to do with that non-chicane layout as well. It's the lack of the Montreal chicane that has managed to let the ones that are faster on the straights really, really excel that and use that to their advantage, especially when it's like nearly straights nearly account for like nearly more than half of the track characteristics, but if it did include the chicane, I think it'll probably be a bit more balanced here. But as in the case for the layout here, it's definitely going to be definitely is going to be a Celine favourite track as well, as we've seen with Boaks, which is nearly 5 seconds between himself and Courtney Simpson.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see then, as we're going to see Ari Soilu looking closer than ever to Erik Novosad. Surely this should be the time for him to strike, as he's gonna head into Senior. Will he be able to go up alongside the Canadian? He's gonna have a look on the inside line then, heading into the corner, and the two will go wheel to wheel. Then Novosad on the outside line basically gets forced into submitting the position, and Ari Soilu gets up into P6.
And our point has been proven. Well done, Ari Soilu gets himself into 6th, really strong there from the finish driver. It's still almost like nearly halfway distance already. It's up in P6. I honestly think he could get P2.
At this rate, probably, but then you also have to factor in things like tire wear and whatnot. So we have to see what is gonna happen. As
Tire wear doesn't count on straights, though, Maran. You should know that.
That is true, but the effect will basically, the gains will be basically nullified if you lose all that time you gained in the corners. As we look at MGT, there's Charles Scheinert who's chasing down Yilmaz for second, so we'll have to wait and see if Charles Scheinert's going to be able to claw back the positions that he lost on the opening few laps, but he is currently pressuring the rookie in the Team Maranello Concessionaires, Çağatay Yılmaz, so we'll see what is going to happen.
Well, the Turkish driver has done really well so far in what has been his first race as well. He's keeping his head cool and he's ahead of other experienced drivers in his class, and he's still managing to hold on to P2 very comfortably at least. So it's really strong showing from him on his debut, to be honest. I think it's probably one of the best debut races that we've probably seen from a debutant this year, along with others.
Indeed. I think he is doing very, very strongly at the moment, which is good to see. As we look at Soilu now chasing down Gabriel Gomez, isn't able to get close enough though, so he's gonna have to stay behind us. We're looking at this very, very close battle for P2 then between Yilmaz, Charles Scheinert, Arnold and Martinez, all involved in this. So we'll have to see what is gonna happen here, as it's basically 3 Ferraris and a Porsche just behind. So equal cars. It'll just come down to driver skill on who is gonna get past.
Well, similar to the GT cars, the NG... Wait. I thought the NGT cars were kind of the same characteristics as the GT. Some of them have a bit more speed than others.
I mean...
Just slower.
Yeah, no, I was talking about how all 3 of them are the same car.
Oh. Oh.
But the Porsche is faster on the straights than the Ferrari, so...
Okay, so could be a Porsche favorite track then. If that's the case, as we've seen with the Viper and the Saleen, then keep an eye out for the Porsches then to see if they can make up any ground anytime soon. But I must say, the GT cars, despite being slower, it's also producing as exciting racing as the class ahead of them at least. But it's quite an interesting field, I must say. Very interesting. It's just a shame that we don't have enough laps to see the GT cars lap them.
Yeah, that was the thing, right? The question was if the GT cars were gonna close up to the NGT cars to be able to lap them, but at the moment I think the distance is just a bit too much. So at this rate I don't think Boaks is gonna hit any traffic. So he is in luck. As we're looking at Tander, he was chasing down the fellow Chrysler Viper, Miran FG, and the Rus Optima Racing. As we look back to NGT now, and back to the battle for second in class between Yilmaz and Charles Scheinert. We'll have to see who's going to come out on top here, but Charles Scheinert has been looking very, very fierce on the back of Yilmaz at the moment.
Yeah, that Ferrari 360 Montana GT is just well, maybe it's not quite good in the streets, but it is at least proven to be a bit capable, at least of at least maintaining the lead in the well, at least the podium places in the GT class at the minute. But Raphael, I must say, in a Porsche as well, it's kind of similar to what we're seeing to Boaks as well. He's kind of almost left the field for 4.1 seconds. It's quite impressive, I must say.
Yeah. As yeah, I have to say though, again, the Saleen is the fastest GT car out on track at the moment, and Boaks has really proven that he's putting in an absolutely fantastic drive here at the opening round in Paul Ricard. As we're now going to Jiwan Kyon, he's on the back of Nick Tander, so Kyon in the all black, as you said, very scary looking Lamborghini Murcielago. We'll see what he is going to be able to do then.
Indeed, is going to exit out through the second, well, almost through the second sector now, as they're going to enter into the Mistral State though. And as we've seen before, that Lamborghini is just as powerful, well, not as powerful, but it is really effective on the straights. And most of Kyon's overtakes have actually come from the Mistral State as well, heading down into turn 8 as well. As our attention now draws into Aaron Curtis, driving the Graham Motorsport, Graham Nash driver, is going to make a move inside Dennis Graf. Down into turn 8 they go, and it's going to be easy pickings for Aaron Curtis as the Irishman gets up onto 9th. Really solid overtake there for him.
Yeah, and they're fighting for P4 in NGT. That's Martinez to the inside of Alexander Arnold, and the Filipino man actually does get past Alexander Arnold, and he will be up into P4 and free to chase down the podium positions in NGT.
Yeah, it's going to replicate Raphael's success he has done, as maybe we might see another car up on the grid as well, aside from him at least. Attention still draws up to Ari Sulu. His charge is somewhat coming to a standstill a little bit, as he's still trying to target down Gabriel Gomez. It probably could be a down to tire, as you've said, Moran, as well, it's especially around these cornering that car, despite being very good and effective on the straights, it is a little bit heavy and it is a bit wide, which kind of hurts a little bit in terms of its cornering ability, and especially down in the first sector and the final sector as well. It's all about cornering.
Yeah, Sector 3 being the more technical one compared to, well, not the more technical one, but guess you could, yeah, okay, the more technical one. Sector 2 obviously having the very long straight, so an all-round car would theoretically be the best at this track, but the Salines say otherwise.
Yep, absolutely. It is quite interesting though to see, because we've got other tracks that's going to come ahead of the calendar as well. Like eventually next week we'll be heading over to Spa-Francorchamps, so that will be a pretty downforce heavy corner. But you've got the Camel Straight as well, which will also benefit the Salines, as it has done here in the Mistral Straight for the Viper and Salines. And then you've got Watkins Glen, which is really elevation heavy, and a lot of interesting corners with varying radius, so that's going to benefit the Leicesters and the Ferraris. And then you've got the Dubai Autodrome, which is bad, and then you've got the final round over, which will be quite interesting to see it all accumulate into a final great race, I must say. But yeah, it's bar from round 4, I think it's going to be a very interesting race, I must say, or series.
Hey, now, what's with the hate towards the Dubai Autodrome? We had a pretty good Super Formula race there.
It's I hate everything based on the United Arab Emirates.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, there is Martinez then to the inside line of Chow Shynot. And Martinez will continue his charge then. Heading out of scene, Martinez will be up into third. That Porsche looking very good at the moment.
Yeah, it is really it's strong there for Martinez, and unfortunately for the Turkish driver, oh, you can just see Chapchana. Meanwhile, he's not quite he's quite impatient though, and you can see Martinez just standing a little bit sideways there. But for the Filipino though, he's both so far both we got two Porsches on the podium for the GT class, NGT class at least. But if Martinez keeps this up, and I think it's going to be quite inevitable, he's going to overtake Jimenez for P2, and it's going to be a Porsche 1-2.
Yeah, that could be really, really interesting.
There's Arizona.
Yeah, that's Arisoilu.
Oh.
Speaking of interesting, he was trying the move there on Gabriel Gomez, trying to get up with the fifth. It makes me wonder, where did he start again? Because I really don't remember. There, though, is Alexander Arnold, and he is fending off Rubinho Gonzalez for P5 at the moment.
Yeah, Alexander Arnold seems to be quite struggling just a little bit if he's trying to fend off from Gonzalez now. He's got quite a bit of a car train behind him as well, similar to what Umas had back in a few laps ago. And as we can see here with Martinez just exiting out through the final few corners of the first sector, it's going to all come crashing down for the Turkish driver and his P2 hopes. But luckily for him, he's still got P3 virtually in the bag with about 7-8 laps to go now. And you can just see the Porsche is just so effective on the straights here, and it's going to be so easy for Martinez here, and there's really nothing that the Turkish driver can do apart from fending just a little bit. And of course that comes down to an end. Down to turn 8 they go, and Martinez gets himself up into second place and just fends off Umas just a little bit though, and it's eventually going to happen sooner rather than later. No, it's not. It's still going on. No, it is finally happened there. The Turkish driver finally gives up after being a bit too wide, heading down to turn 9. No, it's still going to be going side by side. No way.
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful defending from Çağatay Yılmaz, and he will remain in second place in NGT. That move looked to be almost done for Martinez, and he has just absolutely denied him that second. That was beautiful bit of defending from the rookie, and I think Martinez will be left in awe on how he didn't complete that move.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely prime defending move there from Umes, but a really good thing to his advantage as well is that now he's pushed him outside the racing line now. Martinez has now got more worn tire wear than he does now, so it's going to make overtaking even more difficult for the Filipino driver as well. So that's really technical and great defending there from the Turkish driver, I must say. He currently remains in P2, and if he keeps it up, maybe it might be certain that he might be able to hold on to P2 as well. We shall see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but Yilmaz so far doing a very good defensive job. I have to say, what a first race for him in Classic GT. He is doing very good for himself. He's gonna come under pressure again though as we head down the Mistral straight. Martinez will have the straight line speed advantage of the Porsche.
Yeah, right on board now with Martinez. It is cockpit now, and he's going to use a little bit of strip stream now. It's just so powerful, it doesn't even need to use all the strip stream off the Turkish driver as well. And now it's going to be pretty easy now for Martinez as well. Actually, no, he's still going to be a little bit side by side, but he's kind of cleared him a little bit as they head down for turn 8. And yeah, it has worked for Martinez. He gets himself up into P2. But I must say though, Elmaz, tip my hat off to you. That was great defending though the lap prior.
Yeah, that was fantastic stuff from Yilmaz, and yeah, he will hold P20, or he will go down to P23, unfortunately, through basically no fault of his own. Martinez, though, doing very well to claw his way up into second as well. He is driving a very good race as well. Now then we go up to GT, as we're going to look at the battle for the GT podium. There's Tillisley chasing down Mateusz Material for third. This battle which has been ongoing basically the entire race. Look at Fraser on Graf. Then you had Soilu on Gomez, but things looked to have stalled for Ari Soilu. The momentum that he had seems to have kind of faded away a bit.
I must say, throughout this entire race, not only are we going to have the most amount of cars in a starting grid, but we also could have the most amount of cars that finish in an ACOC race as well, with all cars starting and finishing as well.
I mean, we've had that. I guess sure, but yeah, we have had that before. Either way, it'll be. It's nice to see that we haven't had any incident here at Paul Ricard. Hopefully, I don't jinx this now, but yeah. Either way, Ji-Hwan Kyon, who is still on the back of Nick Tander for 13, still has remained behind, so he hasn't really been able to do much in that position.
No, he hasn't. It's kind of the same with ROE Sula as well and P6 as well. Both of their charges have died down, and as you've said, Moran, and probably from my theory as well, it's due to tire wear as well, and it's not quite as well. Whenever you have tire wear and a car as heavy as the Lamborghini and the Salon or whatever, it's too heavy that eventually becomes well, you can't really corner as well as the others, and that leaves the straight line speed pretty much done for, I believe. But yeah, so Solo, meanwhile, I think he probably has to maybe accept P6, maybe, or unless if he's got one more charge ahead of him, and I'm absolutely wrong because he's going to make the move inside of Gabriel Gomez, but not quite close enough though. The Brazilian still remains at P5.
Yeah, good stuff from Gabriel Gomez then, as he will remain in P5, but I feel like he might be a bit frustrated with himself as he just hasn't been able to move up in the positions that he wanted, as Ari Sola had a look again. So yeah, Gomez is just going to have to hope that he's able to keep Sola at bay here.
Yeah, you can see just there, Ollie Brooks is exiting. Oh no, never mind. I thought for a minute that they were almost on the same straight. Technically, they are kind of on the same straight whenever they go to the Mistral straight as well, but you can just see that, yeah, Brooks, I mean, he's just been out of this world so far, which is incredible. Even there's no signs of him slowing down. It's still 5.3 seconds, and it's been like that almost throughout the entire race. Probably really strong.
Yeah, safe to say this is a very, very good from Ollie Boaks here at Paul Ricard, and yeah, well, if nothing goes wrong for him, this win is certain to be his. As we look at Alexander Arnold, it's weird that the racing has been close in the midfield as opposed for the race lead. Both race leaders of Rafael and Boaks have just absolutely pulled a massive gap over the rest of the field. So yeah, it is quite strange.
It does speak volumes though about the Porsche and the Salane cars though in Paul Ricard though, but I don't think it'll be an isolated thing though. I think with the races ahead that we have in the calendar, we might see some similar kind of action going on with race leaders pulling away, albeit just from a different manufacturer. So it could be a good sign of things to come though, but I think the most impressive thing to me though is, most importantly, is the battles that we've had, and that is not going to change regardless of what track we're going to race in the calendar though. But with the races ahead of us though, it's going to provide for some exciting racing and indeed an exciting championship battle as well.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how this championship is going to shape out. Obviously, you can see that a few cars, you can see the cars and the overall performances now, but how is that going to shape out as we go to different tracks and, you know, have different performances at those tracks and whatnot. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the pecking order is going to look after 3 races maybe, and how the championship fight is going to look like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only 5 rounds as well, so it's going to be a very, very interesting battle fight. It's not going to be the one that's going to be, you know, like Super Formula within 10 rounds or F1 with about bajillion. But, you know, short, sweet, and off-season, race here, and all the drivers just kind of letting their hair down as well. But well, albeit it doesn't really have any applications of the season, the ACOC next season, at least for the 4 tiers, though, it's that's a good testament to show the driver skill, though, at least.
Yeah, obviously this is only an off-season championship, so it doesn't really count towards anything. The title and the race wins is just more for show than anything else. We won't magically offer you a Formula 1 contract if you suddenly win a race. Sorry, Ollie Boaks. But yeah, it's all a little bit of fun, so we can keep you all entertained as we work on things behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Just about under 3 laps now to go, at least for the first race of the Paul Ricard, and it's kind of all gotten a little bit stale throughout the entire grid now at the moment, but that's pretty much as is the case for most races whenever it is tire wear heavy, especially in the form of Paul Ricard, especially in that third sector. That third sector is really what's killing those tires for pretty much everyone now, and despite everyone being quite close enough, I'm not entirely sure if we might be able to see any more overtakes in the closing stages of the race, but yeah, it's been a very exciting race. It's been probably one of the most intense and most chaotic race starts that we've seen in probably ACOC history, which is going to be quite a big controversy, but that's my take at least. And it's been quite a good midfield battle throughout the first 3/4 of the race as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, it's been a very, very interesting showcase of the FIA GT cars so far. We have battle, and yeah, lots of action. I really have to say so. Even if it has not been for the race lead, we've had great midfield battles here at Paul Ricard, and obviously next round is Spa, and that's an absolute staple of the FIA GT calendar. So expect the racing to be no worse than this, even better, I'd say.
A big task, I must say. But yeah, that's going to be quite interesting to see for Spa, as we all know the history in regards to Belgium Grand Prix and round races here in ACOC. It's always one of amazement. It's the one of always full of action, full of triumph and sometimes tragedy, even with injuries as well. But hopefully we won't have at least tragedies in the case here in the GT series. But it is something that it is something to be expected of in regards to absolute fulfillment drives, though, in Spa-Francorchamps, though, and it's definitely a race you do not want to miss. Next week on ACOC.
Going to be very, very exciting indeed, as we're now on the final lap of the race here at Paul Ricard, and Ollie Boaks has led the way from lights to flag. It's going to be a very, very good victory for him, I am sure. Then it's going to be Simpson, who will hold off Mateusz Material in third. It's a shame for Ari Soiler, though. We were really hyping him up getting into the top 3, but it seems to just ended at P6 for the Finn.
That's prime commentator's curse right there, Marin, I must say.
Wasn't me who said it, it was you, so I'll blame you. And you can see, look at this, Ollie Boaks has actually caught up with the... Yeah, he's caught up, but at this point I don't think it's gonna do anything, so...
Come on, Ollie, make an overtake.
In the worst case scenario, he'll just be held up for a tiny bit in the final couple of corners. But yeah, either way, I still think the win is his, as Ari Soilu is actually gonna go for a dive. Commentator's curse is real. He's gonna go to the inside line of Gabriel Gomez. The two are gonna go wheel to wheel. Gomez on the inside line. Soilu gets the better on the inside, and he's up at the P5 on the final lap of the race. Great stuff from Ari Soilu, and he gets himself ahead of the Brazilian in the Ferrari. Gabriel Gomez. But as we're looking at this man in the Saleen, the number 7 Graham Nash Motorsport, have to say it has been a very, very solid drive from
Please,
this man.
please.
Hey, don't do it.
No.
It's fine. But taking a license flag victory here at the opening round of Classic GT, Ollie Boakes wins it here at Paul Ricard in the GT class. Simpson and Material will round off the top 3 then. Ari Soilu just gets P5. As now we're gonna have to wait a whole lap for the NGTs to finish. Stella, then Parrish, who will come home in P16. There is Alex Luan in the Creation of Sportif in P17. Then we will have James Morris Pearson, not the greatest of races from the American.
Yeah, meanwhile, our attention draws back to Raphael now. He's now on the Mistral straight now, and it's really proven how really powerful this and beneficial this Porsche car is in the NGT class, at least, as it's going to exit out of turn 8 as well. I must say, it's a very commanding drive there from the Brazilian as well, who's had quite an interesting season the year prior, at least, as he's going to exit out for the 3rd sector as well. And in a similar fashion to Ollie Boakes, he's basically remained unchallenged as well.
Yeah, I have to say, it's been a really good drive from this man as well. Much very similar to Ollie Boakes. He's gonna take a very nice opening win of the season here at Paul Ricard. Coming around the final corner and across the line, Victor Rafael will see the checker flag first for NGT, and he wins here at Paul Ricard with a great drive from P3 on the grid.
Well done for him. Martinez will round off the podium in 2nd, and a debutant of Ilmez will be in P3 as well to round off that podium there. And that concludes the Classic GT race of round 1 at France.
Yes, so I'll let you take the GT results again, and I'll take NGT.
Alright, thank you very much. Ollie Boakes, it's a British man in a British team who takes the win at the first round here for the GT class in P1. Following behind him is Courtney Simpson for nearly 5 seconds is what separates between P1 and P2. Manchester Material rounds off the podium in P3, and far behind him is Jake Tilsley in P4. Arusulu, a great comeback, great charge from him, which lands him in P5. Gabriel Gomez, the Brazilian, in P6. Eric Nosovat in 7th for the Canadian, and following behind him is Ernest Parachki, the Macedonian, in 8th. Aaron Curtis, the Irishman, in 9th, with Dennis Graff behind him in the 10th. Ernest Parachki is the last driver to score points as well. Daniel Fraser down in... Sorry. Daniel Fraser in British driver in 11th, followed by FG, the Swede, in 12th. Nick Tander, the Australian, will be P13, followed by Ji Hwan Kyon, the Korean, in 14th. Giuseppe Stella, the Italian, will be P15, with Will Parrish, the American, in 16th. Alex Luan, the Vietnamese driver, in P17, with James Morris Pearson, the second of the Americans, in 18th. Henry J. Brown will be P19 for the Portuguese driver, and running off the grid will be Thomas Mandic from last and finishes last for the Croatian.
Yeah, and taking the win in NGT will be Victor Rafael in the Porsche, and Rosetta Martinez will be P2 with Çağatay Yılmaz in P23. Functional Cho Shineout will be P24 with Alexander Arnold in P25. P26 is Rubinho Gonzalez with Alex Broster taking P27. Alfred Klaus is 28th with Ekoto Sambi in 29th. Then P30 overall is Rowan Shotanus. And then the final 4 cars is Julia Miyazaki in P31. P32 is Josef Frederick Schuto. And the final 2 finishers is Khalfan Juma and Lewis McIntyre. Right, well, that has been it then for the first round of Classic GT. So thanks so much for watching. It has been a very interesting race. But before we go, it is time to award Driver of the Day. And for me, I will give it to Chata Yilmaz because I think he did a very, very good job this race, holding on to that second, doing that incredible defensive maneuver against Rosetta Martinez, and either way, just finishing on the podium and doing very, very well for himself. So I think it's a really, really deserved Driver of the Day, and he will get it from me.
Really did show promise there on his debut as well. Managed to fend off a car that was much stronger than his, and the fact that he managed to hold it off from the straight as well just proves his driver talent as well. He's definitely one that we can expect to see some more amazing stuff from him in the coming races. Since you've done one from the NGT class, I'll do mine from the GT class. I'll give mine to Arsula because it was just an impeccable charge from him, and at least from outside of the points now to P5. It's really impressive from the Finnish driver, and really good overtakes from him. Strong overtakes, solid drive. He gets my drive of the day.
Yeah, very, very deserved as well. But yeah, that has been it then for the first round of Classic GT. Thanks so much for watching. Classic GT will return next week for round 2 of the championship at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, the staple of the FIA GT calendar. Make sure to not miss that. But until then, I have been Miran.
And I've been Jamie.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you when Classic GT returns.